Celebrating our mums and nans, the team is pushing ahead on a very special garden makeover at this aged care dementia home. With the welcome break in the weather, the pressure's on to get the new paths ready for concreting.
Meanwhile, I've got one final tree to prune. Now, in most gardens, this is what we want, but not in this garden. You see, the lower branches prevent a clear line of sight along the path. So we're going to take them off and lift the canopy up. Oh dear, we're not having much luck. Just as they get close to pouring the concrete, the skies pour down instead. 30 minutes later, by some fluke, the rain stops and it's battle stations. And I tell you what, these guys work quick. So what time have you really got to have this to go off?
Oh, about 2 to 3 hours, and once it goes hard, we're good. But we need that break in the weather.
It was all go, wasn't it?
Absolutely. But I reckon we should put that tarp back up.
I reckon, definitely, when I'm looking over my shoulder there. Made it.
Now, this is the easiest pergola you will ever build. 4 posts in the ground. These ones are 300mm high in the back, so it ends up being a skillion roof. All the water is going to run to the back. I run 2 rails through here, and then every 750, I've got one going down the guts. It's pretty simple construction. We've got the beam, the rafters, and the battens, and this is what we attach the roof to. Two really good tips, just in regards to aesthetics, is paint your pergola first. Can you imagine trying to cut in here along this line where it's touching the sun tuff? It'd be a nightmare. Take your ages, and it's an awkward position. And the second one is space these guys so they line up where the sun tuff overlaps. That way, when you're looking up from the bottom, you don't see these dark, shady lines that make no sense at all. A little bit of preparation makes it go up easier, but most importantly, makes it look a lot better. It's all happening now. My new pavers have just arrived. Probably the #1 reason this garden's been pulled apart and put back together is the paths. Going around in a loop's very confusing, and they're not wide enough. If you think about it, the residents here are of a fair age, so they might need a little bit of assistance. That might mean a family member or a friend or even someone working with them is walking next to them. And by adding this brick on both sides, which are little briquettes, they're 200mm, so 200 plus 200, I'm adding 400mm. I'm turning the path from 1200 to 1600. The contrasting colour of the brick highlights the edges, and visually these stand out. In fact, they're kind of like the lights on a runway.
Well, with the concrete poured and the pavers just about there, coming up,